The world you knew is gone. It was torn from you not by fire or by sword, but by a whisper. A single, venomous word spoken in a gilded hall, and the foundations of your life turned to dust. They didn't kill you. They did something far worse. They erased you, cast you out into the unforgiving wilderness of obscurity, leaving you with nothing but the clothes on your back and the echoing laughter of those you once called brothers. You are an exile, a ghost haunting the edges of a life that is no longer yours. And in this desolation, in this crushing silence where your name is no longer spoken, you are faced with a choice. Do you fade away, a forgotten footnote in another man's story? Or do you turn this wasteland into a forge? Do you take the pain, the betrayal, the solitude, and hammer it into a weapon? Do you make a vow not to them but to yourself? A vow that the man who was cast out will die here in this wilderness, and in his place, a force of nature will be born. A being of such unbreakable will that the world that rejected him will one day tremble at the mere rumor of his return. This is not a story of revenge. Revenge is a beggar's game, a plea for acknowledgement from those who wronged you. This is a story of rebirth. This is the exile's vow. The wind has a language all its own out here. It doesn't speak in words but in truths. It strips away the trivial, the comfortable lies you once wrapped around yourself like a king's robes. Here, in the stark, brutal honesty of the wilderness, you are nothing but what you can endure. The cold is a teacher. The hunger is a whetstone. The solitude is a mirror, and it shows you the creature you have become. Weak. Soft. A man who built his identity on the shifting sands of other people's opinions, their praise, their validation. You see the ghost of that man shivering in the half-light, his face a mask of disbelief and self-pity. He mourns the loss of warmth, of soft beds, of easy conversation. He curses the names of his betrayers, spitting them into the uncaring wind. He is a victim, and as long as he lives inside you, you will die here. The first step in building an unbreakable will is to let that man perish. You must hold a funeral for the person you thought you were. Grieve for him if you must, but his time is over. His world was a gilded cage, and the betrayal was not a curse, but the key that set you free. Freedom is a terrifying thing. It is the absence of everything you once leaned on. It is the terrifying, exhilarating realization that from this moment forward, every single thing is your responsibility, your survival, your strength, your spirit. There are no excuses in the wilderness. The universe does not care about your story, your justifications, or your wounded pride. It responds to one thing and one thing only: action. So what is your first action? It is not to hunt or to build a shelter. It is to make a vow. A vow is not a wish. It is not a hope. A vow is a rewriting of your own personal scripture. It is a declaration of war against the weakness within you. It is the first stone you lay in the foundation of a new temple, a temple of self. This vow must be forged in the fire of your deepest pain. It must be specific. It must be absolute. It is the compass that will guide you when the darkness descends, when the pain is unbearable, when the ghost of your old self whispers for you to simply lie down and let the end come. What is your vow? Is it to never again place your sense of self-worth in the hands of another? Is it to build a body so resilient it becomes a fortress, and a mind so disciplined it becomes a weapon? Is it to find a state of inner peace so profound that no external chaos can ever touch it? Your vow is your new North Star. It is the only thing that matters. The world may have exiled you from its cities and its societies, but you must now exile yourself from your own limitations. This journey is not about finding your way back to the world that cast you out. It is about building a new world within yourself, a world of which you are the undisputed sovereign. They thought they were sending you into the void to be forgotten. They had no idea they were sending you to the one place where you could finally become who you were always meant to be. The wasteland is not your prison. It is your throne room. And your reign begins now, with the first breath you take after you make your vow. It is the breath of a king who has lost his kingdom but found his crown. The cold is the first trial. It seeps into your bones, a relentless thief of warmth and resolve. The man you were would have cowered from it, cursed it, seen it as his enemy. But the man you are becoming, the man forged by the vow, must see it differently. The cold is not your enemy, it is your sparring partner. It is a tool for forging discipline. This is the first principle of the exile's will. You do not conquer your environment, you conquer your reaction to it. You master the space between the stimulus and the response. When the freezing wind cuts through your worn clothes, the instinct is to recoil, to tense up, to think only of the misery. This is the response of the herd. The exile's response is to meet it, to stand and breathe into the cold, to consciously relax the muscles that want to seize up in protest, to focus on the sensation not as pain, but simply as information. The wind is telling you where the gaps are in your defenses. The cold is telling you that your body is burning fuel to stay alive. It is a raw, unfiltered dialogue with reality. This is the practice of voluntary hardship. The world has imposed involuntary hardship upon you, but by choosing to engage with it, to lean into it, you reclaim your power. You will strip down in the frigid morning air and feel the biting shock. You will hold your hands in the icy stream until they burn with a cold fire. Why? To prove to yourself that you are not a slave to your comfort. To teach your body, and more importantly your mind, that you are the one who decides what you can and cannot bear. You are expanding the boundaries of your own endurance, one deliberate, uncomfortable moment at a time. Each shiver is a rep. Each goosebump is a sign of adaptation. You are recalibrating your definition of livable. The comforts of your past life made you fragile. The constant, easy warmth dulled your senses and weakened your spirit. You were a domesticated animal. The wilderness demands you become something more. It demands you awaken the dormant resilience that lies in your DNA, the strength of ancestors who faced ice ages and survived. This principle extends beyond the physical. The cold is a metaphor for all the hardships you will face. The sting of betrayal, the ache of loneliness, the gnawing fear of the unknown. The undisciplined mind reacts to these emotional pains in the same way the undisciplined body reacts to the cold. It recoils, it tenses, it suffers. The trained mind, the exile's mind, learns to breathe into the pain. It learns to observe the emotion without becoming it. When the memory of their laughter echoes in your mind, do not push it away. Do not distract yourself. Face it. Feel the heat of the anger, the cold stone of sorrow in your gut. But observe it as a storm passing through you, not as the entirety of your sky. You are the sky, vast and unchanging. The emotions are merely weather. This is the inner alchemy of the Stoic, turning the lead of pain into the gold of wisdom. You begin to build rituals around this principle. The morning plunge in the frozen river is not a chore, it is a baptism. It is a daily reminder of your vow. With each gasp for air as the shock subsides, you are saying, I choose this, I am in control. You are not merely surviving the cold, you are using it. You are transmuting its energy. The world tried to break you with hardship, and you are foolishly, gloriously, gratefully using that very hardship to become unbreakable. This is the first taste of true power. Not the power to command others, but the power to command yourself in the face of chaos. And it begins with a simple, profound choice, to make the obstacle the way. The second crucible is hunger. It is a more insidious teacher than the cold. The cold attacks from the outside, but hunger gnaws from within. It is a primal, desperate voice that can drown out all reason. It screams for satisfaction, for the easy fulfillment you once took for granted. The ghost of your old self hears this voice and panics. He is a slave to his appetites, his entire day a series of capitulations to cravings. He ate not when he needed to, but when he wanted to. He mistook pleasure for happiness and satiety for strength. Hunger reveals him for the child he is. The man of the vow must approach hunger with a different mindset. It is not a state of lack, but a state of heightened awareness. When your stomach is empty, your senses sharpen. Your hearing becomes more acute. Your vision clarifies. The scent of pine on the wind is more distinct. This is the ancient programming of the predator. Hunger is a trigger for focus, not for despair. You must learn to sit with the discomfort of an empty belly and recognize it not as a weakness, but as your body preparing you for the hunt, for the task at hand. You will practice intermittent fasting, not because it is a trend, but because it is a tool of mental dominion. You will push your first meal later and later into the day. You will learn the difference between true physiological hunger and the phantom pangs of habit and boredom. This is a battle fought not in the wilderness, but on the battlefield of your own mind. The voice of weakness will bargain, it will plead, it will try to trick you. Just one small bite. No one will know. You deserve it. And with each victory over this voice, your will becomes stronger. You are not just denying your body food. You are asserting your mind's authority over your body's impulses. This is the core of discipline. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about choice. It is the ability to choose what you want most over what you want now. What you want now is the fleeting pleasure of a full stomach. What you want most is the unshakable strength of a man who is master of his own appetites. Every time you choose the latter, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. This mastery extends to all appetites: the appetite for distraction, the appetite for validation, the appetite for mindless entertainment. Your past life was a buffet of these empty calories, and they made your mind fat and slow. Solitude is a forced detox. Suddenly, there is nothing to distract you from your own thoughts. There are no screens to numb your boredom, no crowds to lose yourself in. There is only you and the vast, silent cathedral of nature. At first, this silence is deafening. Your mind, accustomed to constant stimulation, will thrash like a cornered animal. It will dredge up old regrets, anxieties, and fears. It will scream for a fix, for anything to fill the void. This is the withdrawal, and you must endure it. You must sit with the roaring silence until it becomes peaceful. You must watch the chaotic torrent of your own thoughts until the water runs clear. This is meditation, not in a quiet room with incense, but on a cold rock overlooking a desolate valley. You will learn to focus your attention on a single point: your breath, the sound of the wind, the slow crawl of a beetle on a stone. Each time your mind wanders, and it will, thousands of times, you will gently but firmly bring it back. This is the mental equivalent of lifting a heavy weight. It is arduous. It is repetitive. And it is how you build a mind that is strong, focused, and under your command. You are training yourself to be the gatekeeper of your own attention. In the old world, your attention was a commodity, bought and sold by the highest bidder. Corporations, media, politicians, they all vied for a piece of your focus. Here, in your exile, your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. It is the raw energy from which you will build your new reality. By learning to control it, by learning to starve the appetites that once controlled you, you are taking back the keys to your own kingdom. You are learning that true freedom isn't the ability to have anything you want, but the ability to not need it. The third pillar of your unbreakable will is built in the deafening silence, the mastery of solitude. In the world you left behind, you feared being alone. You saw solitude as a sign of failure, of being unwanted. You filled every spare moment with noise, with company, with distraction, all to avoid the terrifying prospect of facing yourself. Here, solitude is not a punishment. It is your greatest resource. It is the anvil upon which you will forge a new identity, an identity that is not defined by others, but is discovered from within. Your first days and weeks in solitude are a storm. The mind, an addict for the validation and reflection it found in other people's eyes, now finds itself in a hall of mirrors. Every insecurity, every doubt, every unhealed wound is magnified. The voices of your betrayers are joined by the even more venomous voice of your own inner critic. It tells you that you are worthless, that you are forgotten, that you deserved your fate. It replays your every mistake, your every moment of weakness. The undisciplined man would break under this assault. He would be driven mad by the echoes in his own skull. He would do anything to escape the noise, to find another person to distract him from himself. But the exile on the path of the vow knows this storm is a necessary purification. You cannot build a fortress on rotten foundations. You must first clear the debris of your old self. So you sit with the storm. You do not fight the thoughts. You do not try to suppress the feelings. You let them come. You become an observer of your own mind. You watch the parade of fear, anger, and sorrow pass by without judgment. This is an act of supreme courage. You are walking into the haunted house of your own past and turning on all the lights. You are facing the demons you have been running from your entire life. And a strange thing happens when you stop running. The demons begin to lose their power. When you look at them directly, you see them for what they are. Not monstrous titans, but frightened children, old programs running on outdated code. The voice of your inner critic, when you truly listen to it, is not the voice of truth, but the voice of your deepest fears. The memories of betrayal, when you examine them without the fog of emotion, become lessons in discernment and self-reliance. In this profound silence, you begin to hear a new voice. It is quieter, deeper, and more steady than the frantic chatter of your ego. It is the voice of your intuition, your higher self. It has been there all along, but it was drowned out by the noise of the world. This voice does not speak in panicked commands, but in calm, clear knowing. It guides you to water. It shows you which plants are edible. It warns you of a predator's presence before you see it. It is the primal wisdom that connects you to the world around you. You learn to trust this voice above all others. It is your true north, your unshakable core. As you cultivate this connection, you no longer feel lonely. You feel deeply connected to everything. You are not a man lost in the wilderness. You are the wilderness itself, experiencing its own consciousness. The trees are your lungs. The river is your blood. The rock is your bone. This is the transformation from solitude as a state of being alone to solitude as a state of being all one. You have shed the need for external validation because you have found a source of inner validation that is absolute. You know who you are, not because someone told you, but because you have discovered it in the silent depths of your own being. This new identity is not fragile. It cannot be taken from you by a whispered word or a treacherous act. It is forged in the unassailable reality of your own experience. You have faced the worst of yourself and survived. You have weathered the storm of your own mind and found the calm at its center. You are no longer a reflection in the eyes of others. You are the source of your own light. A man who can stand alone, not in defiance but in wholeness, is a man who can never be broken. He has turned the prison of solitude into the palace of the self. Having faced the outer world of cold and the inner world of hunger and noise, you arrive at the fourth forge, the body. Your body is not a vehicle you inhabit, it is the physical manifestation of your will. In your past life, you treated it with contempt. You fed it poison, allowed it to grow soft and weak, a testament to a life of comfort and convenience. It was a servant to your appetites, not a temple for your spirit. Now it must become your greatest ally, a weapon and a tool, honed to a razor's edge. The wilderness is your gymnasium. Every fallen log is a weight to be lifted. Every steep incline is a test of your endurance. Every broad tree branch is a bar for your pull. There are no machines here, no carefully curated routines. There is only raw, functional strength. You will move as your ancestors did, with purpose and power. You will learn to crawl, to climb, to sprint, to carry. You will reclaim the physical sovereignty that modernity has stolen from you. This training is not for vanity. It is for survival and for the cultivation of a warrior's spirit. When you push your body to its absolute limit, a profound mental shift occurs. The whining, complaining part of your mind, the part that is always seeking comfort and avoiding pain, is silenced. It has to be. In its place rises a primal grit, a stubborn refusal to quit that comes from a place deeper than thought. This is the essence of your will, expressing itself in sinew and bone. You learn to listen to your body, not to its complaints, but to its wisdom. You learn the language of muscle fatigue, the subtle signs of dehydration, the quiet hum of a body in balance. You are not brutalizing it. You are entering into a partnership with it. You feed it clean fuel, the plants and animals of the forest. You give it the deep, restorative rest it needs under the canopy of stars. In return, it gives you energy, resilience, and a powerful sense of presence. The physical transformation is a reflection of the internal one. As the fat melts away, so do your self-doubts. As the muscles harden, so does your resolve. As your posture straightens, you begin to occupy space differently. You walk with a quiet confidence that comes not from ego, but from a deep, cellular knowledge of your own capabilities. You know you can endure because you have endured. You know you are strong because you have tested your strength against the unforgiving reality of nature and found it sufficient. This physical discipline becomes a keystone habit. The act of doing something hard every single day spills over into every other area of your life. It is easier to face the mental challenge of meditation after you have conquered the physical challenge of a brutal workout. It is easier to endure the pangs of hunger when you know you have the strength to hunt for your own food. The body and mind are not separate entities. They are a feedback loop. A strong body cultivates a strong mind, and a strong mind pushes the body to new heights. You begin to see your former self as a prisoner in his own body. He was trapped by his lack of energy, his aches and pains, his physical limitations. He could not act on his own intentions because his physical form was a constant source of resistance. Your new body is an instrument of freedom. It allows you to act, to move, to be in the world with power and grace. It is a fortress that protects your spirit and a weapon that allows you to impose your will upon the physical world. The ultimate lesson the body teaches is that of impermanence and resilience. You will get injured. You will be sore. You will feel weak, but you will also heal. You will adapt. You will grow stronger. The body is a testament to the power of antifragility, the ability to not just withstand stress but to become better because of it. Scars become symbols of lessons learned. Calluses are badges of honor, proof of work done. You are no longer afraid of pain because you understand its purpose. It is the agent of all growth. By embracing the crucible of physical transformation, you are not just building a body. You are building a living monument to your unbreakable will. With your mind sharpened by solitude, your will hardened by discipline, and your body forged into a weapon, you approach the final and most subtle crucible, the mastery of perception. You have learned to endure hardship, but now you must learn to see the world not as it is, but as you choose it to be. This is the ultimate power of the exile. They took your world away, so now you have the absolute freedom to create your own. The foundational principle is this: nothing is inherently good or bad. It is your judgment, your perception, that assigns it value. The same freezing wind that once tormented you is now your training partner. The same hunger that once drove you to despair is now a tool for focus. The same solitude that was once a prison is now your sanctuary. The external circumstances did not change. You did. You changed the lens through which you view reality. This is the inner citadel, the fortress of the mind that the Stoics spoke of. It is an unassailable stronghold because its walls are not built of stone but of perspective. No matter what happens in the external world, no matter the betrayals, the losses, the chaos, it cannot touch the core of your being unless you allow it to. You are the sole gatekeeper to your own mind. How do you build this citadel? Through conscious, deliberate practice. When a negative event occurs, a hunt fails, a storm destroys your shelter, an old wound aches, you must catch your initial reactive thought. The thought that says, "This is terrible, this is a disaster, I am cursed." You must stop that thought in its tracks and challenge it. You will ask yourself a series of questions. Can I control this event? If the answer is no, then spending emotional energy resisting it is a waste of your most precious resource. It is like punching a mountain. The mountain does not care, and you will only break your hand. Instead, you practice acceptance. Not resignation, but a calm, clear-eyed acceptance of what is. This is amor fati, the love of your fate. You do not just tolerate reality, you embrace it. You trust that even this setback is a necessary part of your path, a hidden lesson, a disguised opportunity. The next question is, what can I learn from this? The failed hunt teaches you about the cunning of your prey. The destroyed shelter reveals a flaw in your design. The aching wound reminds you of a past mistake. Every setback is a teacher if you have the humility to listen. The undisciplined mind sees failure as a verdict. The exile's mind sees it as data. The final, most powerful question is, how can I use this? This is the alchemical step, turning lead into gold. The failed hunt forces you to develop new, more ingenious traps. The destroyed shelter motivates you to build a stronger one, using the knowledge you gain from its collapse. The aching wound becomes a barometer, predicting the weather and reminding you to move with more care. You are not just overcoming obstacles, you are harvesting them for power. You are using the friction of the world to polish your own soul. This practice rewires your brain. You are carving new neural pathways, training your mind to default to a state of proactive resourcefulness instead of reactive victimhood. You stop seeing yourself as a pawn of fate and start seeing yourself as a player in a grand, challenging game. You begin to greet challenges not with a sigh, but with a quiet, confident smile. Ah, you think. Here is another test. Here is another chance to grow stronger. This mastery of perception is your invisible armor and your silent sword. When you finally re-encounter the world of men, they will not understand the source of your power. They will see a man who is calm in the face of chaos, a man who is undeterred by setbacks, a man who seems to draw strength from the very things that would break others. They will call it luck, or talent, or perhaps even magic. They will not see the thousands of hours of training you endured in the wilderness of your exile. They will not see the countless battles you fought and won against your own mind. They will only see the result. A man whose will is so sovereign, whose inner peace is so profound, that he has become a force of nature in his own right. He did not conquer the world. He conquered himself, and in doing so, the world laid itself at his feet. This is the exile's ultimate victory. Not a return to his old life, but the creation of a new one, built on the unbreakable foundation of a truly unconquerable mind. And so the exile stands, no longer a man but a symbol, a testament to the profound and dangerous power that lies dormant in the human spirit, waiting for the crucible of hardship to awaken it. He is the living embodiment of his vow, a man remade not in the image of his society, but in the image of his own highest potential. His story is not over, but its most critical chapter is complete. He has built an unbreakable will. Now look at your own life. You may not be in a literal wilderness, but are you not also in a form of exile? Exiled from your dreams by the comfort of your routine. Exiled from your strength by the fear of failure. Exiled from your true self by the roles you are forced to play. You have been cast out, not by others, but by your own compromises. The world you inhabit is a gilded cage, a comfortable prison of low expectations and easy distractions. And a part of you is starving, not for food, but for meaning, not for warmth, but for the fire of a worthy struggle. A part of you yearns for the wilderness, for a challenge that will strip you down to your essential self and show you what you are truly made of. You do not need to be betrayed and left for dead to begin this journey. You can choose it. You can declare your own exile, an exile from mediocrity, an exile from the herd mentality, an exile from the weak, complaining victim that lives inside you. You can choose to turn your life into the forge. What is your vow? Look at the parts of your life that cause you the most pain, the most shame. Your addictions, your fears, your laziness. This is the raw material. Your vow is the decision made in the deepest part of your soul that this ends now. It is the promise you make to your future self, a self that is strong, disciplined, and free. Your cold is the uncomfortable conversation you have been avoiding. Your hunger is the craving for the cheap dopamine of social media and junk food that you must master. Your solitude is the 10 minutes a day you carve out to sit in silence, with no phone, no TV, just you and your own thoughts. Your physical training is the decision to go to the gym when every fiber of your being wants to stay on the couch. Your mastery of perception is the choice to see the layoff, the breakup, the failure not as a curse, but as the beginning of your true story. This is the exile's vow, translated for the modern world. It is a path of voluntary hardship, a conscious decision to choose the difficult road because you know that the easy road leads to a life of quiet desperation. It is about building an inner citadel so strong that the chaos of the world becomes nothing more than background noise. The journey will be lonely. Your friends and family, comfortable in their own cages, may not understand. They may call you obsessed, extreme, strange. They will see you shedding your old skin and it will frighten them, because it reminds them of the skin they have yet to shed. You must be willing to walk alone. You must find your validation not in their applause, but in your own progress, in the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you are honoring your vow. So I ask you again, what is your vow? Do not just think it. Write it down. Speak it aloud. Let it be the first thing you think of when you wake and the last thing you think of before you sleep. Let it become the organizing principle of your entire existence. This is not a game. This is a war for your own soul. The forces of mediocrity and comfort are relentless. They will test you every day. But within you is a strength you have not yet discovered. The strength of the exile. The strength of the one who was broken down to nothing and chose to rebuild himself into something indestructible. The wilderness is calling. Not the wilderness of trees and rock, but the wilderness of your own untapped potential. Step into it, make your vow, and begin the glorious, arduous process of building your unbreakable will. The man you are today can die, so the man you were born to be can finally live. Your exile begins now.